Town planning experts say the recent flood events in Queensland and New South Wales highlight how vulnerable coastal communities, including the Gold Coast, are to major weather events. Key points. Experts say devastating floods in Queensland and New South Wales show how vulnerable coastal communities are to extreme weather. Experts say devastating floods in Queensland and New South Wales show how vulnerable coastal communities are to extreme weather. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's latest report warns more intense and frequent weather events will occur in the future. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's latest report warns more intense and frequent weather events will occur in the future. A coordinating author says local government planners can help reduce their impact by considering where they approve new homes and businesses. A slow-moving weather system recently dumped hundreds of millimeters of rain on the Gold Coast, with floodwaters inundating homes and businesses in low-lying areas. The weather event also impacted more than 15,000 homes in Brisbane. Director of the city's Research Institute at Griffith University, Professor Paul Burton, said the horse has bolted with development in these areas, leaving communities at risk during extreme weather. If we were starting afresh now and building our cities with the knowledge that we have now, then we wouldn't probably start building in some of the places where we are now, he said. But what we can't do is just pick up cities and move them to less risky areas. That's practically impossible. More than 630,000 people live on the Gold Coast, and Professor Burton said authorities have very few options when trying to prevent future flood events. Homes on Avocado St and 19th Ave on the Gold Coast were among those that flooded. One is to invest heavily in concrete infrastructure, build big sea walls, keep the houses away, he said. Those are really expensive and really difficult and probably impractical. What we have to do is learn to live and build and to develop sensibly in these areas that are at risk. Strategies absolutely not perfect. Gold Coast Mayor Tom Tate said the recent weather event proved the city's planning scheme was working. Throughout this event, we had around 180 homes that suffered water inundation, he said. Not all of these had water into the living areas, but some had water substantially across the land. While one home is one too many, it has to be remembered that we have more than 250,000 homes in the city. Professor Burton said local governments approve development applications, including those in flood-prone areas, and those powers are given to them by state governments. Experts say local governments can help reduce the impact of flooding with strategies like building sea walls and concrete infrastructure. For a number of years now, the Queensland government has been requiring and helping local governments, including coastal councils like the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast, to develop a coastal hazard adaptation strategy, he said. They assess some of those risks and come up with plans to reduce some of those risks and ensure we don't experience disasters in the future. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Could they be better? Yes. More intense weather expected. A United Nations report on climate last week warned more intense and frequent weather events would occur as a result of climate change. Griffith University professor and coordinating author of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report, Brendan Mackey, said local government planners need to play their part in avoiding widespread devastation. There's a lot of implications for local government planning, where we put our homes and our commercial buildings, and how we design and lay out our infrastructure, he said. We have to be giving a lot more thought to the fact we are going to see an increase in the intensity and frequency and duration of these extreme fire and weather events. Mayor Tom Tate said council had spent $250 million on new stormwater systems and invested in rebuilding the city's A-line seawall along the coast. Climate change commentators should applaud how well our planning scheme is working to ensure properties are approved for construction in suitable areas, he said.